Are you an introvert like me or an extrovert? Is it easy for you to network and socialize with other people, or is it easy for you to connect with strangers? And do you effectively network and get connections that are healthy for your business? I am Melon, and I'm taking this journey to grow and scale my business to reach our target of $1 million revenue. I have been in the business for the past almost 15 years. We'll be celebrating our 15th anniversary next year. So right now, I'm trying to scale the business and reach this goal, and also reward our team because they have been working so hard. And I started documenting this journey a couple of months back when I turned 44. And I feel that when I reach 45, I think it's also a milestone for me if I reach this target. And I'm glad that you're taking this journey with me. So I'm glad you're here watching this video. And so today I'll be sharing a little bit of updates since I started documenting this journey, what steps that I've taken since I started documenting this journey, and what are the changes. Has it improved the business? Has it increased our revenue? And today also I'll be discussing how I network as an introvert and how it has helped me in the business as well, improving my networking skills. Even though it's quite hard and difficult in the beginning, I find it rewarding, and it has improved myself personally as an individual and as a professional and as a business owner. So a little bit of an update. It has been more than 2 months already since I started documenting this journey. And so far, of course, in the first month, we have not seen an uptick. Our business has done well if you compare it to last year's business, because if you watch my previous video, you have learned that we have some problems and I had to step away from the business for a while, did some personal work, and then of course we have lost a couple of key people. And so last year our business started to dip after they have left. I did not notice because it was approaching the summer months. We are currently in the summer months, and of course business slows down, especially if you're in the event industry. Your revenue is expected to decrease. But surprisingly, actually this year there's a lot more people here in Dubai. Yes, we are currently here in Dubai. Our business is based here. Most businesses, actually not just event industry business, but most businesses, they see a slowdown when summer comes because a lot of people go back to their homes and a lot of people go on holidays. But this year, there's a little bit more activities. There's a lot more people. There's still traffic. And surprisingly, because it used to be a ghost town whenever summer comes, our July looks better in numbers. July actually is way better than last year's June and July. So that's good news for me. Our January, February, March, and April were the worst first quarter. So today I'll be sharing how networking helps me get more revenue, get more contacts, reach a wider audience, and get more businesses. I used to work in the corporate world, and working with colleagues with different nationalities and meeting people every day. But when I quit and started my own business in 2014, I was by myself. Being an entrepreneur can be lonely sometimes. So when I quit my job, I was working as a solo photographer, a solopreneur, from 2014 to early 2015, and we hired a few team members that joined us in early 2015. But I was still working most of the time, working behind the computer and behind the camera, and I rarely meet people. I rarely go out. After a couple of years, I thought that it was not really helping the business. We have clients, of course, I meet those clients, but I had no one to share like business problems, to share experiences or struggles that I have faced as an entrepreneur. Especially as a woman, it's difficult to share like experiences with a man, because as women business owners, we have different struggles. Because to be honest, I know it's not fair. We are mothers as well. We are wives as well. And sometimes it's frowned upon when as a mother, you focus on being a business owner versus being a mom. But when a man works hard for his family, everyone will say, wow, what a good provider. Versus when a woman works hard for her family, they will say, oh, you're neglecting your children. You're neglecting your role as a mom. I did not neglect the children. I had a good balance, but I was neglecting myself in the process. And as a business owner, you get burned out, you get tired. When you don't have anyone to share your business struggles, your business challenges, and the problems you face, and you don't see fellow entrepreneurs, especially women, you feel more lonely actually. So in 2018, I got invited to a BNI networking event in the morning. My friend Riham, who's a wedding planner, invited me to the BNI networking, and it was an all-woman chapter that time. When I visited and saw the culture of the networking event and the community, I said this will be helpful for me. I am naturally an introvert. I like being alone. I'm not comfortable when I attend events that are full of strangers and there's a lot of people. Even there's a few people I know. I get tired easily, and then like my social skills get depleted after quite some time. So I said, I think this BNI will be helpful for me to improve my communication skills, because you have to give a 30-second pitch every time that you have a meeting. So that's number one. That's the reason one thing I joined. Number two, the reason I joined is for me to expand, of course, the business. BNI is a givers gain community, and I love that core value because it's very refreshing to see how people give business without expecting anything in return. And the community is so good, especially if majority of the members adapt that core value to give referrals, to help each other. So that was refreshing for me to see that community. So that chapter that I'm now a member of for the past 5 years has helped me grow as an individual, as a person, and as a business owner. Now, whenever I join a networking event and I tell them that I'm an introvert, they are surprised. Really, are you an introvert? They said, oh, you're a natural networker. You easily adapt in a networking environment. You can easily talk to people. If you have heard one of Ivan Meisner's podcasts, he's also an introvert, according to his wife, who knew him very well, but he has developed into a situational extrovert, which I think I have developed into a situational extrovert as well. I think I will rate myself 6 out of 10 because sometimes I don't feel like networking. I don't feel like talking to new people. I still do not have the confidence to approach new people and start a conversation. But if I've met that person before, then I can easily approach them and then strike a conversation. But then it drains a lot of my energy. So here are my 5 tips for you to network effectively as an introvert. As an introvert, whenever I go to parties or networking events or social gatherings, my energy is drained out. Even sometimes when I just conduct interviews in the office, when we need to hire someone and there's a series of interviews that I need to attend to in a day, right after that, I'm so drained. Meeting new people drains my energy. So my first tip for you is for you to recover and recharge right after a networking event. Make sure you plan your networking events in a way that it's not going to be a series of networking events that you attend to, or not a series of social gatherings you attend to in one day, because it will drain your energy. And also, if you have a tiring day at work, don't force yourself to attend a networking event right after if you want to make the most of that social gathering or that networking event. So I like networking events that happen during the early mornings, because then you still have that energy to socialize and to get to know the people in the networking event. My second tip for you is to set your expectations. So when I started networking as an introvert, it was not natural for me to approach someone and get to know them. It takes time for you to develop skills. If you think that I have good social skills and that's easy for me to approach people, it took a lot of practice. Sometimes what I do normally is I look at how other people network, and I also like to remember pickup lines. One thing that has worked for me is to give a compliment to someone. Hey, I like your hair. I like your dress. That's why it's actually easier for me to network with fellow females, because I can easily give them a compliment that I myself would love to hear, or I'll find something that we have in common. A third tip for introverts like me when you attend a networking event is find someone you know and ask for introductions. If you're attending a networking event that you haven't been invited to, ask the person who invited you to give you a few introductions, a couple of introductions who you think you can talk with easily. Ask an introduction to someone who you work with in the same industry, or an introduction to someone who you think you have something in common with. You will then have that momentum of getting and talking to people, and then you can then start hopping from one person to another. And also, whenever you're going to a networking event, do not overtire yourself, set your expectations. Do not try to talk to everyone in that event. Build relationships and try to build connections with people you know that will be helpful for you and your business. One thing that you should not do in a networking event is do not sell your services or your product. Build connections and build relationships first, and then the trust will come automatically when you build connections. Give value to someone, and then sales will come naturally if you first try to give value to someone. Be the person that gives versus the person that gets. So another tip for you is to listen more. Talk less and listen more. When you go to networking events, you want to gain. So when you talk less, listen more, you have gained more. You have gained more information from someone, and you can then easily connect with them. Naturally, people love to talk. And then so when you allow people to talk and you listen intently, and they see you listen intently and sincerely, then they will have a better connection with you. Keep asking questions. Ask them about how they started their business, what are their likes, what challenges do they face, and how you can help them. So having this insight of how you can help other people, and by listening to them, you set yourself up as a person who care more for others, because it gives a better impression if you listen versus you talk. Someone told me that instead of building wider relationships or connections, build deeper connections, because deep connections, they're the ones who will support you, encourage you, and they will be the ones referring you to a wider audience. My final tip is to follow up. So when I started attending networking events, I just attended networking events to get to know people, to meet new people. But actually, if you're not going to follow up with the people that you've met on networking events, they can easily forget about you. They can easily forget about your business. The time of business cards actually have a little bit subsided. Now, I have attended a networking event, and then I met someone, and he said, like, why don't we just follow each other on social media? Let's take a selfie and tag me on Instagram. Then I will remember you better. And then there's scan my QR code and let's connect to each other, or add me on LinkedIn. This is one of the tips that Phil Bedford advised me, is that you can write notes on that business card. You met this person on this networking event, or you met this person at a trade exhibition, then you can note it down. And then when you email them, you can mention that, hey, we met at this. And maybe you can say, oh, we talked about this. And then they will easily recall you and your business. And a good time for you to follow up after the networking event is about 48 hours after the event. It's a good time for you to follow up and mention where you met and send an email or a friendly LinkedIn connection. I have 3 bonus tips for you when you're attending networking event. The first one is choose the right events. So as an introvert, I make sure that I attend one networking event besides my big BNI weekly meeting. So I have a BNI weekly meeting every Wednesday, but in my marketing plan, this is something that I also did just this year. So when I started documenting my journey, I made sure that I have a marketing plan. And I have an omni-channel marketing approach. Discuss that in another episode. I look out for networking events around Dubai that I think will help my business. It's either sometimes like a female networking event. Sometimes it's a networking event about photography or video. Sometimes it's a networking event about startups. And as an introvert, I don't want to attend more than one. So I try to attend one besides my BNI weekly meeting. My number 2 bonus tip is to take breaks. Take a break and give yourself a reward. If I successfully connected to really remarkable people that I feel that I can build great connections with and will be a great business supporter or someone who will be helpful for my business, I take a break and I reward myself with a bubble tea or a Starbucks matcha latte. I try to give myself quiet time because this will help you recharge as an introvert. I will put on my aroma diffuser and put some essential oils to help me relax. And I'll drink my tea quietly with a good book. My final bonus tip is to be yourself. Don't try to be someone that you're not. So this is something that I value as a person, and it's one of my core values is authenticity. And for me, you can make mistakes. You don't have to be that perfect person to attend networking events. You have to put your best foot forward, but you don't have to be someone else, and you don't have to talk like someone else. Be yourself and people will love you. Be yourself and people get attracted to you and will actually build more genuine connections with you. So if you're an introvert and you found value in my episode today about tips on how to network effectively as an introvert, I hope you will put this into practice and let me know how it worked for you. If you found value on this video, hit the like button and do subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me and have a blessed week.